Don't tell the UFC, but I'll probably do it for free. Floyd Mayweather is about the size of my little finger. Worked, Iko Uwais? I'm friends with Iko. He's a great guy. We worked together on a movie called Triple Threat.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for the time to chat with us in kompas.com and the Indonesian audience. We really appreciate your time and the opportunity given here by the UFC. Okay, straight to my first question. Okay, well, 2020 has been a tragic year for everyone, obviously. However, it is also a monumental one for the UFC, right? The UFC started the year with an outstanding McGregor win, and then we got another canceled Ferguson and Khabib fight, and then Khabib retiring. I want to know what was your high and low moment for the past year?
Yeah, well, I think the low moment is probably the same as everybody else. Obviously, a lot of lives lost this year, a lot of financial ruin, a lot of financial hardship, a lot of people losing their jobs, and it's just heartbreaking to see. It's heartbreaking. The high, I guess, is the complete opposite. Is because the UFC's response to how they handled this pandemic. They were the first sport to come back, and they kind of led the way for everybody. They did it in a very responsible way. The testing, the protocol that they had to ensure the safety of everybody, to try and reduce transmissions as much as possible was fantastic. The UFC laid off no staff. The fighters were still able to fight. They've been putting on fights every single week. And the fights have just delivered, because now there's no crowds. It really adds a new dynamic. You can hear the cornermen. You can hear the fighters talking to one another. So, to see what the UFC has done this year, it's incredible.
I see. And what do you think that UFC can bring next year in 2021?
Well, it's going to start well. We've got Dustin Poirier fighting Conor McGregor. That's a great start to the year. There's John Jones going up to heavyweight. That's going to be interesting. We've got Colby Covington taking on Jorge Masvidal. That's going to be a huge fight. Israel Adesanya taking on Jan Blachowicz for a super fight. And these are all fights that are going to happen in the first quarter of the year. So as usual, the UFC continue to go from strength to strength.
I see. Regarding the Asian region, well, the MMA scene is really flourishing here in Asia for the past few years, but I think the region only has its first top-tier UFC champion in Zhang Weili. What do you think is needed for Asian fighters to really stand out in the UFC?
Well, I think they're starting to do a fantastic job. Zhang Weili is just an incredible fighter. Her fight with Joanna Jędrzejczyk, even though it was almost a year ago now, that's the best fight this year. That is one of the best fights you will ever see. Of course, you got Song Yadong, you got, how do you say, Yao Yajianan or whatever. There's Li Jingmiang. Sorry, my apologies. My sincere apologies. And they also have the Performance Institute in Shanghai now. That's a massive facility. So they're cultivating that market. There's going to be a lot of great fighters, not just from China, but obviously all over Asia. And I'm very, very excited to see what they're going to do inside the UFC.
I see. Okay. And recently, superstars like Cristiano Ronaldo, they gave positive comments about the UFC and when Khabib wants to fight through his interviews, but also through his personal Instagrams. Like, do you think this kind of endorsements is what needed for the UFC to truly grab the global sporting audience?
Yeah, well, I think the recognition now that the UFC is getting from people like Cristiano Ronaldo and so some of the biggest sporting names, some of the biggest actors in the world. It's phenomenal. But I'm not surprised. Dana White said this once at a press conference. He said, you can go back hundreds of years. If you're walking down the street and there's two people start fighting on the other side of the road, you're going to stop and watch. Yeah. You're going to watch that fight. So when then you've got the best fighters in the world fighting one another, and then it's wrapped up in the amazing production that the UFC has, it's not surprising. It's the best sport on the planet. Everybody loves watching it. Okay. Some people like football. Some people like hockey, whatever. But they don't understand the other sports. You understand what's happening in a fight, So I'm not surprised it's getting so popular.
Okay, so we got this question from our reader. His name is Tio Nugroho, one of Indonesia's top sports commentator and UFC aficionado. He wants to ask you, where did you learn to become a commentator? What drives you? Was this like the first thing you want to do after retirement?
It was certainly one of them. I started working for Fox Sports as an analyst, and when I started the TV work, when I started doing that and I started to enjoy it and get good at it, of course, the next progression was to be a commentator. But it took a long time. I think it was 6 years as a pre-fight and a post-fight analyst, maybe longer, maybe it was 7 years or 8 years. I did a long time. And then I had to do an audition, and then I had to commentate on the Contender series. So, there was a lot of work to get there.
Step by step.
Yeah, step by step. But I love it. I'm very, very passionate about this job. And don't tell the UFC, but I probably do it for free.
Well, I have this on recording, though, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the fighters, she said that she learned from when the arena is empty. She learned from what you said at ringside, and then she adjusted her style. I forgot which fighter was it. So it's a new experience, right? Without the crowd and without the sounds from the ambience.
Yeah. No, it's difficult sometimes because I always talk loud. I'm very, very loud anyway by nature, but the cage is there, and then they're fighting, and I've got to commentate, and sometimes the producers say, explain to the audience at home what she needs to do or he needs to do to escape this position. So I'm saying that, and I'm sure one of the fighters is thinking, you're telling them what to do. But I'm like, no, I'm just doing my job. I'm calling the fights, I think Daniel Cormier is the best one. I think sometimes he was talking about some wrestling moves, and then one of the fighters afterwards said, yep, thank you, DC. I could hear you saying that, so that's what I did, which is, it's very funny.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of new experience for you guys also, Octagon side, right?
Yep.
Another question from Theo is, who do you think will be the next standout performer, aka the most profitable for UFC after Khabib's retirement?
Yeah, after Khabib, I think Israel Adesanya. I think Israel is going to be huge. I mean, he's already a big star, but if he can beat Jan Blachowicz and become a 2-weight division champion and just continues doing what he's doing. I mean, the guy, he looks good. He fights incredibly. He's got a good, funny personality. So, yeah, I think Israel Adesanya is the next big thing.
Okay. And then we have a question from our affiliate, bolasport.com, the #1 sports website in Indonesia. It's regarding Adesanya also. How long do you think Adesanya can still become champion, and who will usurp him as #1 in middleweight?
Yeah, at middleweight, honestly, I don't think anybody's going to beat him for a long time. I don't think. I mean, who is there? He's beaten all the best guys. He beat Yoel, he beat Costa, he beat Whittaker. He's beaten all the best. I don't think anybody's going to beat him. I think at light heavyweight, he's going to have more challenges. Of course, Jan Blachowicz is a very, very tough fight. Yeah. And then there's this fight with John Jones, which John Jones is the man. So, but respect to Adesanya because he's trying to fight these guys. He's not looking for easy challenges. And that's what makes you great as a fighter, trying to take on the toughest challenges. And that's what Israel is doing. So he has my respect.
Yeah. And he became a boxing commentator for the Tyson fight also, right? So he definitely took on the challenges there, right?
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that was a lot of fun with Snoop Dogg as well.
Yeah, the Snoop Dogg one. Okay, regarding the Tyson match, are you interested in doing that kind of exhibition with ex-MMA players like GSP or perhaps even with Mayweather? I don't know. The money is good, right?
Yeah, listen, I'll do anything if the money's good enough. But Floyd Mayweather is about the size of my little finger. Okay, so I don't think me and Floyd Mayweather are ever going to box. But I'm not against it. I'd certainly entertain the idea. Although I've been beaten up enough in my life, So these days I talk to people like you. I talk into a microphone. It's a lot easier than getting my ass kicked.
So are you more like, do you think that kind of fight, like It's not a real fight. I don't really like it. Or are you more happy like doing a real fight against real opponents? I mean,
yeah, I always prefer real fights, but I'm not against people making money. If people can go out there and make money, then good for them. Good for them. So there's no judgment on my behalf. But I've got many, many injuries. I'm old. I'm beat up. I've got no knees. I've had a lot of surgeries. My fighting days are done. The only fighting I'll be doing now is in movies or on TV.
or through the game UFC 4.
There you go. Exactly. Something like that.
You a gaming person? Do you like to play games in your?
I used to, but then when I was fighting, I just had no time. But I just recently I got the new Xbox. Yeah. So maybe I'll give my wife something else to complain about.
Cool. So next on to the next question. Well, perhaps you got this question a lot. Like it's been on the news lately. But what do you think about Jake Paul's antic with Conor McGregor?
Yeah, I mean, good for him. He's trying to make some money. He's got no chance in hell in beating Conor McGregor. No chance in hell. But I like what he's doing. It's funny. It's entertaining. It's very, very insulting. Did you see that video today?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. No, it's very insulting. He's got to be careful. I mean, the thing is, he's trying to promote a fight. He's trying to get a fight. So he's trying to say things to Conor that he thinks that will make him want to fight. But I tell you what, if somebody was speaking about my wife like that, then, ring or no ring, there's going to be an issue. There's going to be a problem. So, and Conor McGregor is not a man to be trifled with.
Yeah. And what's your interpretation of the silence from Conor's camp?
Yeah, I don't know, actually. That's a good question. I never thought about that because there's been nothing, right? That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know because we have the same manager as well. And I know that Audiotar, that's his manager. He's a very, very smart man. I don't know why, because you would think straight away Conor, because Conor likes to talk.
Right?
Yeah, you think he'd be giving it this straight away. He said nothing. So I don't know. Maybe they do it. Maybe they take the money, kick his ass and move on. So you never know. Who knows? We'll wait and see.
So what your gut instinct tells you? Will that fight happen?
Nah, I don't think so. But I'm not a smart man. I get a lot of things wrong. So we'll see.
Okay, so then your best ever fight in your career?
It's when I beat Luke Rockhold to become the champion. Knocked him out first round, 2 weeks notice. Yeah, it doesn't really get better than that. And then when I fought Anderson Silva as well, I was proud of that one.
I see. Yeah, your last two fights, it was a loss. Do you not really want to try to come back? And I know you said about your injuries, but don't you have?
Yeah. No, listen. I had a long career. I did it for a long, long time. I don't miss it. I'm very lucky because I commentate for the UFC now, so I'm still a part of it. And I think if I didn't do that, then I would miss it a lot more. But I'm still involved. I'm 42 in February. I'm 41 years old. I've done that for a long time. It was great. It gave me a new life. I earned some money. I turned, I was able to change as a person. And now I'm on to new challenges, So that was a great time in my life. But my time as a fighter is over.
I see. Okay. Outside the UFC, do you still watch football matches or what team are you a fan of?
Yeah, no, I'm Manchester United, although they're not doing very good. But I don't watch too many team sports. I do like football. I don't get to watch it very often because it's not very popular in America. But I try and keep up. But I know Manchester are doing very well, so I'm not interested.
So you're not into the Premier League anymore. So you're more.
Yeah, I used to be, but as I say, out in America with the time difference, and it's not on TV, So it's hard to keep up with it.
Okay. So what are your activities outside of UFC then, Mike?
Yeah. Right now I'm focusing on my acting career. That seems to be going pretty well, so I'm doing that. What else? I got a few businesses that I'm involved with. I still keep shape. I was just doing jiu-jitsu earlier tonight. So I still, I'm still training. I still like to take care of myself. I still like to work out and just trying to make money, trying to pay the bills, just like you, buddy. I'm not different. We're just trying to do whatever we can, scraping, clawing, pay those bills and look after my children.
Yeah, a realist in life. Very.
I try to be.
Yeah, well, perhaps the last question, like the UFC is very big in Indonesia. Perhaps you don't know about this, but every time we wrote about the UFC, it always tops the chart for our viewing, for our viewership, be it or be it on that week. There's always a lot of traction if we write about UFC. We love writing about UFC. Do you have anything you want to say to the Indonesian fans, you Indonesian UFC fans?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for watching our sport. We truly, truly appreciate all the support over the years. And I want to see some of the Indonesian fighters out there. You know, I've only worked, you know, Iko Uwais.
Iko
Uwais. Yeah, Iko Uwais. Yeah, I'm friends with Iko. He's a great guy. We worked together on a movie called Triple Threat. Just an awesome guy, and he's an incredible martial artist. And I'm looking forward to seeing Indonesian talent in the UFC. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before you guys have a champion. So good luck. And whoever that's going to be, good luck to them as well. But thank you for watching the UFC. We appreciate the support.
Sure. Thank you so much for your time and for your insights. It's been a great opportunity for Kompas.com and our audience. Perhaps
thank you very much.
We're gonna see you in Jakarta, in Indonesia.
I hope so. I've never been to Jakarta. I want to come. So anybody listening, invite me, bring me, pay me, bring me to Indonesia. I want to come.
Cool. We've got the best foods and the best everything here. You're gonna like it.
I love it. I love Indonesian food. I can't wait. And I'm looking forward to the day. All right. Pleasure talking to you, my friend.
Pleasure also, sir. Thank you so much.
Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.